Sorry for the interruption that happened. So I'll just start and give you a brief, and then we'll finish off, and then we will go back again to both and see what I'm expecting out of the assignments from you. But before that, as many questions as you can, please ask. So yeah, I have some questions here. Let me see what are the questions. I can see one question from Jan is asking, can the constant only be one? No, it can be any image. It's not needed that you should have a constant. Anything which image has the value of one means if I go into, let's say, this image, if you see the value of this image is not, one, right? It comes as like 0.43, 0.47, and 0.52. So it's not one basically. So I need to make it one, and then you can use that image also as for subtracting the a. So it can be any image which has the value of one. It's not needed that you should have a value of you should have the constant node. You can make it in Photoshop and make sure you use solid as 255 for all three GB, and technically it will come as constant only with white color. That's it. So you can try with both. All right, so let's come back. So what we have now, we had the image, and what we did is we used a couple of reformat nodes just to bring back into the same resolution. It's always better to set the project first and then do the work, so that later we don't have to put the reformats. Just because I started the session and realized that the project setting is not according to this new script, it is still back to the old one, which is the Porsche one. So we I had to use the reformat node. So in between, please ask questions. Just just waiting for the questions. So anyone who has a questions, please ask. Then I'll continue. And meanwhile, I'll just update the chat box also. Okay, so far no questions. All right, so I'll just continue. Back. Okay. Think UK is back. Anyone else who has a questions? No questions. All right, no problem. I'll just start. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just go through again and show you what we did so far. Okay, and for the fact of not setting a project, you can ignore this reformat nodes. Just focus on these nodes. All right. So what we did is we did 1 minus a. So 1 is this one minus a. A is this image which carries alpha, but not alpha. It carries RGB also. To make it alpha, we use shuffle node, and in shuffle node, I uh, allowed alpha into all channels, okay, in the streamline. So now alpha data is going into all channels. So what was before, the before is RGB along with alpha, but now after shuffle node, what you will see is whether you look at RGB or red channel or green channel or blue channel or as well as alpha, everything is same because we shuffled out all the channels. So this is the result what we got. Now the next is we have this image and we multiplied. Why we multiplied? Because the formula says whatever the result you get from 1 minus a, you multiply it by b. So what we did here, the result what we got is multiplied by b. The b is our castle image. So we multiplied and we got a cutout of the car. And that's what the result we got. And the last one it says is the result what you are getting so far now, please add it, just use the plus operation with a image. The a image is car image. So what we will do is the result whatever we got, add it with a image. So when we add, By double click and use plus operation, we add it. Now, again, the problem is we can see some background. The reason behind is this output is not yet pre-multiplied. Okay, the RGB is separate and alpha is separate. Okay, we have to pre-multiply to use a plus operation. How we will pre-multiply this image? So we can do two things here. One, we can double click and you can see the pre-multiply operation, which is not recommended, but you can use this one. But instead, when I do pre-multiply, you can see we are getting only the car, but I'll recommend you to use the separate node. The separate node means use the pre-mult node. So when you use this, and what's the result you are getting is all these things, what's happening here, you can actually do it directly by using merge node A over B. And you can use pre-multiply. So I'll do pre-multiply here as well. So this is the result, what you will be getting in, okay, by using over operation. And this is what we did by using their own mathematical formula. So this is our manual method of using this formula by using merge node, shuffle nodes. So we did 1 minus a first, then we did multiply because it says multiply by b, and then it says plus a. So we did plus a, and this is the result. And that's what happening directly in the over operation. So it is basically both are same. So of course, as a compositor, you don't have to do all of these, but to understand this formula, I just prepared this session for you to learn in this way. And if you know this way, then you can easily understand what's happening behind the over operation. All right, so this is that. So I'll just go again back to this node. So if we see the fire, we had the Porsche, we had the copy, so we copied the rat channel, we pre-multiplied, we put it on top, and we added with the background. So this is the result, and we will discuss more about the rim section as well. So you are feel free to make the output as similar to this one, because I've given you the passes. Just don't want you to start this session. I'm not going with the rim area, the not just the rim area. Basically, it's behind the rim area, so that you are free feel free to explore and give me the output. If you don't, we will have it in next session. And this also I want you to practice with a plus b multiply in 1 minus a. So this is the node graph, and of course if you don't understand anything, you can repeat. We'll share you the recording, and you can seek through back and see what's the thing which you didn't understand. Let me go through some questions and let me find. Okay, so Nishant is asking, I didn't understand that making RGB1 for particular image. I didn't understand that making. Same sir, can you explain again? Sir, can you repeat RGB1? Sir, can you send a screenshot of this node graph after the class? Yes, I'll share the node graph of the screenshot, even though you will have the recording. I'm just not able to understand the question itself. What part you want to me to repeat again? I didn't understand that making audio. So yes, a screenshot. Yeah, I will share the screenshot. Don't worry. I'll share the screenshot of the node graph to make you understand more. The only thing which I'm expecting from you guys is the question, the Nishan question and Chan question. I don't know what you want me to explain again. I'll explain again, no problem. But what you want me to repeat? Can you explain again? Okay. So I'm still waiting for the question that which part you want me to explain again. So can constant be okay. Uh, um, the thing is, of course, the constant can be any color, but if you want to make it pink, then of course the problem is you won't get the value of 1. You see it's 1 and then 0.15 and 0.85, and the value is not 1, which what we want. So that's why I kept it as white. For the car image, there are different values for RGB. How to make the values 1, sir? Okay, so that's a simple thing for okay, for this car image. I didn't use car image for one value. If you just focus on the image, I'll just let me take off this part. It's just to explain you what's happening in the over operation. I'll just take off this part. I didn't use one for car image. Remember, I used A for the car image. 1 is my constant, 1 minus A, and A is this. This area is A and this is 1. So 1 minus A. Okay, don't consider this as A and this is as 1. This is not a car. This is we used for A and this is for 1. But in case if you want this car to make it 1, so you can see what values we are missing. All right. And of course, some values may go beyond also, but we will focus on how to make it 1 as well. I'll just show you quickly. By using grade node, you can make the values 1. All right, what we'll do is we will go in gain. All right, and we'll look into it. So when we go in gain, you see we went up to 4. Let's say if I add 10. All right, so what we are looking into right now, we have added 10 value, some goes 5 or something, but still we can see some areas are still around 1 or something. How to put a value of overexposure? So what we will do is we will increase actually the offset. So when we increase the offset, it's actually a white, but it's going beyond than 1. See, it's going 1.6, 1.75 and 1.87 because of the image itself. The image also have the varieties of numbers. So even if you use offset to add values, the value is still is going beyond 1. And then to restrict it to 1, you can use a clamp node. There is a node called clamp. Clamping means you are clamping the values. When you add clamp node, you can see the all the values are into 1 now. So we are telling new the node called clamp that minimum value should be 0, but don't keep the value more than 1. We are clipping it to 1. So we have a 1 value and it looks like same like constant. Okay, just the size difference. Hope you understood this part. Okay, Vinay, I've just answered this question. Any other question I'm just looking into? Chen asked, done. Nishanta, for the car image, there are different values, which is already done. When I answered how to get all the RGB values as one, which is done, and there are different values. Yes, I shown you by using clamp node that this is one. So hope I'm clear with you. Anyone else who has a doubt in those two? For Porsche car image compositing, for the Porsche one, you can feel free to practice and you know try to find out the result. I just want your observation, and that's nice that you observed and figure out that this part is not available inside the RGB. So I just want you to first explore, and anyhow we will be looking at more passes and compositing the fire inside there. But if you figure out there are some answer in this one as well, in these passes as well. So I'll just wait for your some experiments, and if you don't come out, of course we are going to have a next session and we will see into it. Any other question? Can you repeat the clamp node? Yeah, Jerma, I can repeat the clamp node and can explain constant again. Yeah, Chayuda, I can explain the constant and I'll go one after the other. So Jerma is asking about, can you repeat the clamp node? Yes, I can repeat the clamp node. Jeremiah, it's quite simple. Let's say you have a constant or any image, for example, any image. All right. Even if I put value of 5, you see beyond n 1, it will show 5. And now you may ask me, what's the point of putting 5? 1 is also white, 5 is also white. But when we talk about the images which comes from 3D, they have more dynamic range than the values from 0 to 1. Sometimes it goes as low as even below than 0. They go sometimes in minus, and sometimes they go beyond than plus. We have seen one of the bulb image which was EXR, which was having a value more than 1. All right, so when we are having HDR images taken from the camera in live action, or else we have 3D images, we may have a value of 1, and to restrict the values according to linear, what we do is we use a clamp node. So clamp means we are restricting the values to 1. We don't want more than 1. So you see, before that it was 5 and now it's 1. That's what exactly same thing is happening here in the car image. I added some grade and it was going some random values 1.6, 1.75 and 1.88. But when I clamped it, they all goes to 1. So clamping is sometimes recommended, sometimes not, because you are actually clipping those dynamic range into one value, not beyond that one. So now it is, you can consider this image after grading is high dynamic, but now it is not high dynamic range image. It is clamped image. Same like 8-bit image and you are working with 16 and 32-bit and later saving it as 8-bit, you clamp it. Same way it's clamping here. All right. So that's what I've given the explanation. And apart from that, one more question I've seen from Chayuda. Chayuda is asking, can I explain constant node again? Okay, so constant node is nothing. When you have the constant node, it comes under the image menu basically. So when you find the constant node, it's just nothing, just a solid. It's just a color layer. That's it. So in After Effects terms, it's a node. It's a layer which has a solid color. So you can put any color. It's not you can add just between 0 to 1. But if you see right next to it, if you click, you can have a sample. But if you don't want a sample, you want to give some other color, you can click on color board, drag this circle and move it anywhere. So whichever color you want, what saturation you want, you can adjust the saturation as well as the color. So it's just a color node. So the constant is you can make colors out of choosing either with the color board or else you can use the values. So 0, we are giving green in 0.19 and blue is 1. So this is what the color we are getting. Suppose I want actually the green color. What I'll do is I'll put in green 1, red as 0, blue also as 0. And that's what we will get a green color. If we want red, we will put 1 in red, 0 in green and 0 in blue. So we got the red. Combination of red and green, we get yellow. So this is just the constant. So here in constant, I used one value minus a. All right, let me see the questions. All right. Okay. So Nishant is asking, sir, instead of using all the nodes, we can rotate the car and place it on the background. Instead of using all the nodes, we can rotate the car and, of course, Nishant, yes, of course, we can rotate the car and put it on top. But my objective is not to show you how to composite this car on top of the background. Of course, we can roto and you know we can put it on top, but that's not my objective for today. I just want you to show that what's happening in the over operation. Okay, not to show you how to put the car on top. My objective is to how to show you the what's happening, what is happening in the over operation. All right, and it says 1 minus a multiplied by b plus a. So just to actually, instead of seeing it mathematically, how to see it visually in the image terms, I just made it here. Okay, I'm not looking for that. Yes, of course, you can do this. I will just hit pre-multiply and there is a car, and then we can use merge node. A for the car, B for the background, and that's how we can get the result. And if I use reformat, it will be slightly bigger in size, like same how it is. Of course, I was not okay with the selection, but this is the result what you're talking about. Of course, we can have it, but this is not the objective to put the car on top. To understand the operation of hover is the objective for me to teach you. So hope you understood this. Any other questions if you have? So feel free to ask questions, and we'll wrap it up this session. And hope I was helpful for you for this session. And if any questions you have, you can ask later as well. But it will be very nice. I can show you practically uh, whatever the questions you have. So I'm still waiting for the questions. But that's all what I planned for you to learn. Uh, let's see if any else comes in. So it seems like everyone hope everyone understood this session. But any other thing if you have? Still, I cannot see any new questions. Okay, so that's all. That's it for today's session. I cannot see any update. Okay, one more question from Joyce. Okay, so sir, why is the car flying? How do you place it on the ground? Okay, nice. Uh, yeah, car is flying. I agree. Car is flying. So how to put it? Okay, so we can actually move this here. So speaking of our own output, this is the output what we got, and this is the car. So what we see is the car is flying basically, of course, it's flying. What we will do is we'll use a transform node. Transform, the shortcut is T, the first letter of the transform. You can find the transform node in the menu, and here it is. So when you add transform node, connect, you will actually get controls to transform. But if you focus, why I'm not able to see any transform controls, the reason is um, that you can see in the corner it says overlay off. So whenever overlay is off, you can actually move the car by using properties here. It says X. So if I add some value, it's moving. You can see if I use one's value, I'm using basically up and down. All right. And why you can see that there is a cutout. The reason behind is because we cut it out with the old alpha. The old alpha was not transformed. All right. So if we want to transform something along with the car, what we will do is we will transform, and we will right click, edit, and there is an option called clone. Okay, so what clone does for you is it actually modifies. Okay, so if whatever value I change here, I'm changing by using mouse wheel basically. So what you will see now, that if I change any value, you see the image is moving, but I want to move just the car, so I will not place the transform here. Instead, I'll place the transform there. So I'll just disconnect. To disconnect, you can use Control Shift C also. Sorry, Control Shift X to extract. I can delete this, but let's keep it because we want a node graph. So we have a transform node here. So whatever I transform there, it will transform for my alpha, and you can see the car is moving. And you want a controls. you can right click and click on overlay. So when you click on overlay, now you can see the controls because overlay is on, and the shortcut is Q, and you can move the car now. Remember, the car is moving perfectly because we have a clone node there. Alpha is also moving along with it. If I disable this, then the problem will come is, suppose we don't have a transform node with the clone. If I just have a, let me extract this node first, extract. I will extract this node as well. In case if I am not using alpha and car together, if I just use transform, the car will move, but there will be a hole. The patch will be there. So of course we want not the patch, we want the car to move along with the alpha. So that's why I'm using a clone node. The clone node means whatever you do the changes here, it will do the same for there. All right. So this is how you can place the car, and you can resize as well and put it there. Hope this is fine for you, Joyce. Okay, what is a reformat used for? The reformat used for let's keep this image, and we have a resolution of 1936 by 1288. So 1936 by 2188 is the image size, and if we see the project setting by pressing S, the project setting is 3354 by 2064. So how to set this image according to the project settings? So what we can do is we can use the reformat node and connect. And what you will see now, the before image, the original resolution of this image was 1936 by 1288, but now after reformatting, it is exactly the same as project setting. So whenever you have a project setting, and if you want to change the format, the resolution, the size of the image according to the project settings, the reformat node is used for. All right. And few of the options I have planned for you for the next session, which I will do it in the next session, so that we will see later. But as of now, this much is that. Any other questions? If you have, then feel free to ask. I meant to ask, what can we use it for? Jeremiah, we will see more in detail the clamp node, why we use it, and what actually we can use it for. Once we start getting some uh, once we start getting some passes from 3D from Maya, when you render some 3D models, and when we have overexposed passes or some values or maybe some tab channels which has values more than one, we will use clamp node. We'll come to it later also. Just for the sake of this example, I used clamp node, but we will look into more detail later. Right? And any other questions when I asked, but deleted his comment. So I'm just waiting if any other questions you have. And if not, let's wrap up this session. Hope I was helpful for you. And this session is not even 100%, even if you learn this maximum of it, I'll be happy to see. And feel free to share your updates on the Google Drive so I can see the result what you got it. For this image, you can practice with any other two images. And if you want this one, I will upload this for you as well. And speaking of those images, the Porsche is already there in the reference folder of new. So do let me know if you have any questions. If not, let's finish off this session. Sir, it was the same as German. Oh, okay, no problem. We'll use clamp node quite a lot later. Okay, no problem. Okay, let's wrap it up. We'll see the next session by understanding more of you know the more of Nuke interface even more in detail. Don't leave. Okay. All right, we can come online. Of course, as soon as we plan for the next session, I'll come online, and I'm not leaving. I'm just ending the stream. All right. So we'll just see you in the next session, and till then, take care. Goodbye.